Growing up in a Croatian family, I was taught from a very early age to believe in spirits, ghosts, apparitions, and predictions. My grandmother would often tell us tales of her family and how they were visited by various past relatives throughout the centuries. So from the very young age, I was taught that ghosts were real and to expect them. A couple months ago, my mother was visiting. And I came home from work one day, and she was sitting at her kitchen counter directly below our bedroom. And she points up to the ceiling, and she says, "You know, you have a ghost up there." I, of course, was like, "Oh, of course we do, you know." And she's like, No. I went upstairs. I heard footsteps. I checked your dog. Your dog was right here with me. I opened the door. I shouted, "Who's there?" No one was there. I checked on your bed, checked in your closet, checked in your bathroom. "You just have a ghost." I'm like, "Oh, well, it's, not only just March and maybe the winds hitting the house. So ghost is a natural conclusion. So we're just going to parking lot this and just go on with our day and until you leave and just not mention this again." A couple weeks later, I started waking up exactly at 2:34 in the morning. And I did this for 9 straight nights. And every time I woke up, I rolled over and looked at the clock, and it had 2:34. And I found that very strange, that was a consecutive number. It equaled the number 9, which is my lucky number. It was just a weird premonition that something was about to happen. I tell this to my husband. Of course, he's like, "It's just your natural biorhythms. There's nothing to read into it." But on the 9th night, I woke up at 2:34, 3:33, and 4:44 in the morning. And at 4:44, I rolled over and looked over at the clock and the dog's bed, which is right beside our bed. The dog is sitting up in a complete trance. I naturally rise up to see what she's looking at, and there's a gentleman in a fedora, trench coat, looking down at my dog and smiling. Can't really see his face, but I could tell he was smiling. As any protective dog dad would do, I simply just scream, "Get the fuck away from the Labradoodle!" And the apparition disappears. The husband sleeps through the whole thing. The next day, I consulted our neighborhood ghost expert. Every neighborhood has one, and this lady is legit. She has had tea parties with ghosts, and half the neighborhood has attended. So I went to her, and I told her the various instances involving my mother and my waking up at 2:34 in the morning and the apparition. And she said, "Well, something is connected. Someone is connected with your mother and you. So who would be related to you that has appeared to you or your mother before?" I instantly thought of my grandfather. My grandfather died when I was 9 days old. And when I was still a baby, my mom had heard some noises in my nursery, came and looked, and saw her dad standing there in white, smiling at me one time. And I instantly thought, maybe it is him. And I said, "Well, what does these numbers mean?" And Mary Ann told me, she said, "Well, 234, 333 equals the number 9. What does the number 9 mean to your grandfather?" He was born in September and died in September, the 9th month. What year was he born? 1912. 444. That equals 12. So she said, "Your grandfather is most likely coming to tell you something." You kind of scared him away. So the message will be coming soon. So I was like, okay. So I called my mother up, and I asked her, I said, what did grandfather usually like to wear on a day, any given day? And she goes, well, he loved wearing fedoras and trench coats. I was like, well, I think he was trying to see me the other day, but I kind of screamed and he scampered off. And she's like, well, I did that to him 40 years ago, so I understand what you're going through. But next time, listen. A couple of weeks later, I got a phone call in the middle of the night. My mother had been hospitalized. In my dad's panic, he slips out what room number she was staying in. The room number was 234. And I instantly felt relief. And I told him, everything will be okay. I have assurances that everything will be okay. And it was. She ended up being fine and was discharged the next day. So the next time my grandfather decides to visit me in the middle of the night and he wants to pet the Labradoodle, he most certainly can do so, and I will sit up and I will not scream at him. I will simply listen to the message. And hopefully the husband will wake up too.